Now, when I play the move d4, I'm going to play the vaunted London system. This is an opening that I think at the beginner level, if you want to try out and you don't want to get cheese and you just want to get a game with a system, it's a very good opening to play as a pure beginner. Now, the caveat, of course, is that as you improve at chess, I think it's an opening that's a little bit limiting in terms of pawn structures you get used to and the piece placement as well. So we got the move h6. So now I'm going to go e3. Very logical, just like the last game. I have this pawn chain, but the bishop is outside the chain. The bishop is not on c1, clogged in by the pawn. So now I drop back. I have the 3 pawns and this bishop on the diagonal. Very, very well placed, versus being here where it would be very passive just to hover over. It would not be very good. So my opponent plays move f5. Now this is a big mistake. I don't know if my opponent knows what he's doing or not, but I'm just going to punish him because I see no good reason not to. I'm going to go queen h5, checking the king. One of the instructive points about this is that in the opening, you almost never want to push this f pawn, which is right next to your king. It opens up diagonals and all kinds of things can go wrong where you lose the game very quickly. Now my opponent is on the brink of already losing here. He's going to have to move this king to d7. Maybe it's still not the end of the world, ironically enough, but I'm going to move my knight here, and now I've got this great square for the horse to check the king, and black is in all kinds of trouble. Let's go knight to e5, checking the king. King has to come up. I'm trying to see if there's a forced checkmate. I don't see it. I will go check. My queen and my knight guard each other. He's going to move his king over. Now, the move that I think I'm going to play after king to d6 is this move bishop to b5. And the reason I'm going to move the bishop here is that I can always move the knight to check the king, all kinds of fossils. When I put the bishop here, this simply threatens checkmate, as the king will have no escape square on the c6 square. In fact, I think there might be only one move to stop a forced checkmate here for black, which would be to play the move f4. I think it's the only way, because otherwise knight c4 is going to be an auto checkmate no matter what. We go knight c4, and just like that, boom goes the dynamite. The king has no squares available, specifically c6 and d7, which are covered by this bishop, and that's all she wrote in this game. So let's go for our next one. I think this means we're probably going to get in 2 more games, if possible. That was not really a very instructive game. My opponent lost right away. So let's go back to the Sicilian. So we're going to play the Sicilian here. Now my opponent, I assume, will probably play knight to f3. And again, I'm going to play this move pawn to e6. Now I won't always group the videos like this where I try to play the same opening every time. But if I have a situation like this where I've already played e6, there's no reason not to go for it. So my opponent plays move g3. Now this is a pretty serious move actually at the professional level. I'm going to play the move knight to c6, following the standard plan of pushing the pawn and bringing the knight out to start the game. So my opponent plays move knight to c3. Now the move that I'm going to play here is I'm going to play a6 once again. It might not be the best move, but I want to follow the themes of putting these pawns on e6 and a6 and bringing the knight to c6, so you have some basis of consistency to work from. So he goes bishop g2. Now, because my opponent has fianchettoed the bishop to g2 here, the move I'm going to play is b5 with the idea of bishop b7 to try and oppose this bishop on the long diagonal. Now, the reason I go b5 versus b6 here is that if I were to play b6, there's nothing wrong with the fianchetto. But when I go b5, I've taken a little bit more space here. The pawn is 1 square up the board. But additionally, I can also play b4 and attack this knight at some moment down the road. So we go bishop b7, lining up the bishops on the opposite diagonals, and let's see what my opponent chooses to do. Now my opponent plays move d3, and the move that I'm going to play here is the move rook c8. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, what is he doing? He's not following the basics. He's not developing this king side. All these pieces aren't in the game yet. Now this is true, but because the center of the board is closed, you'll notice we have all our pawns, no open files. I'm not super worried